Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mutaro. Today I have an interesting guest in the studio with me. His name is Ibrahim and he's a robotic automation process engineer. He's also called RPA. I brought him here to the channel to talk to us about what RPA is, his career so far, how he started, and progress so far. So RPA is quite uncommon in Nigeria. So I'm going to allow him to share the details with us. So first, thank you for coming to my channel.
Thank you
I
for having
really
me.
appreciate it. So can you introduce yourself to our audience? Tell them about you, who you are.
Okay. Hi guys. My name is Ibrahim Shokunbi. I'm an RPA engineer, robotics process automation engineer. Um, Also into artificial intelligence and agentic automation. I started my career off as a normal backend software engineer, and from there I moved to IT support, server and storage configurations, and one way or the other, I found my way in RPA. So I was working with a bank, and when I was a support engineer, I used to, work on ATMs, servers, um, Azure Cloud engineer and all of that. So then there was an opening to fill within the environment. I was already doing RPA as a freelancer before then, but it was not as intense as moving
Working in a
into
bank.
in a bank.
Yeah.
So I got the opening, and I just said, let me try my luck, and I got the offer. And here we are today.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Back end and IT support and now RPA engineer. So of course, people that don't know what RPA is, when you say RPA, they don't know what RPA is. Do you want to give us like the details of your like what you do at work day to day? I mean, everybody knows that a front end engineer, or most
Yeah,
people would know that front end engineer, you're building like UI and all of those things. What does your I know it has to do with AI automations, but
yeah,
what does your day to day entails? What do you do at work like when you go to the office or when you're even if you're working from home?
yeah. So RPA might sound ambiguous,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of people feel like the name sounds too complex and might just make you confused. So
Yeah.
RPA just simply means robotics process automation.
Okay.
So it is using digital robots to solve day-to-day manual repetitive activities.
Okay.
So using a set of instructions and codes to just replicate what somebody would have manually done, right? So what happens is maybe you have a, like, for instance, you have a process of, as a YouTube content creator, you
Yeah.
have a process of, after you shoot your video,
Mm-hmm.
you maybe upload it and do some editing.
Yeah.
So as long as that task is repetitive, like it is what you do every time, a bot can do it for you, right? So that's what RPA is all about. So taking that manual effort off of
Mm-hmm.
you and using the bots, to build it. So, and there are several tools, and
Okay.
there's also core programming RPA where you don't use these tools. So what the tools help you to do is to minimize the level of code you write, and so it's just like a low code environment, but you still write codes because there are some activities that might not be present or available in those tools. So
Yeah.
the common tools that we have are UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, and Power Automate.
Okay. I
So
think Power Automate is for Microsoft.
yeah, Power Automate is for Microsoft. Microsoft, they like to win the ecosystem,
Yeah.
and because most enterprise environments are already using Microsoft tools like Microsoft Word,
Yeah.
Excel, and all those things. So they just leverage on that. But Power Automate is a little bit limited because it does not give you as much. You're not able to manipulate or to do as much as you want to do compared to UiPath and Blue Prism and other automation anywhere. Right. So for UiPath now, right, it is very sophisticated and it still gives you the feel of a core developer, right?
Mm-hmm.
You still have the abilities to write codes and all of that. So if you are looking to write codes and still, so I recommend you write part.
Okay, so I know that you work in a bank
Yeah,
and you use RPA, or you work as an RPA engineer in a bank. So what does your like daily day-to-day tasks entails, as like how can you use RPA to solve problems in the bank? So a lot of startups don't use RPA, but I know that
yeah,
for like already like standard company that have like they've been doing the
numerous.
same thing for 20,
Yeah.
30, 50 years. So do you want to give us the details of how you use RPA in your day-to-day at work?
Yeah, so I'll start from the startups not using RPA.
Okay.
So I feel like startups are not really exposed to RPA. And on the other side, it might be due to cost because it's actually expensive to build. So, aside from building the processes, the
Mm,
flows, you still need to buy robots that will take on these tasks.
mm,
So, paying for the license of the robot can cost as much as $10,000, $20,000 for one robot, and for a company, at least you have like 10 bots
multiples.
or 20 bots to be doing works for you. So that can cost up to like $300,000 for just bot license
Yeah.
every year. So that's a lot of cost.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be like a reason why I feel like
Startups.
startups are not looking in that direction for now. But in bank, so bank has like millions of processes
Yeah.
that's that are very repetitive. Reconciliation, settlement, account opening, a lot of processes that are very, very manual. So this is why we come in as RPA developers to help the bank take on these manual tasks so that employees can take on more, productive tasks. So take for instance, as a customer, you make a transaction, right, on your bank app, and you are being debited. There are like a number of processes that go on between you and the receiving end. So a lot of channels receive the funds before it gets to the beneficiary that you're trying to send to. So there has to be like a reconciliation between you, the sender, the intermediary, the next intermediary, and the receiver, so that everybody knows that okay, I got this amount from this so person. I pass it to this switching company. The switching company passes it to the next bank. The next bank passes to the customer. So that's the chain. So it's very, very long, and every day these transactions are in volumes. It could be 1 million transactions, it could be 2 million transactions. So imagine somebody having to, download these reports on Excel, checking it one
Analyze
by
it.
one,
Yeah.
analyzing it, checking, okay, is this successful, is this failed, do we have this in our group ledger, in our GL account, do we not have this, and all of that. So that's where the bot comes in. So the bot doesn't sleep, doesn't get tired, it's
Can be
working
audited.
24/7, so it's always working. So you can just be on your bed on Saturday and you know that a bot is doing your Monday's work already for you. So that's where RPA comes in.
Okay. So is the RPA robot, is it like a software or hardware?
So it's exactly, so this is where that's why I mentioned the confusion, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people, when they hear robotics, their head just
Hardware.
goes to hardware straight.
Yeah.
So no, this is digital robots, so they are
Oh,
all
okay.
softwares.
Oh, okay. Okay. So another question I have is how, like, what's the difference between this digital robot and AI, the LLMs we have today?
So AI, so right now there's agentic AI is coming into play. So we have
Yeah.
agents that
Mm-hmm.
can act as RPA robots. But
Yeah.
before, the traditional AI is just for maybe a model or
Mm-hmm.
something.
You
It's
can't
not, yeah, it's not
process.
repetitive
Yeah.
like that. So it has to be like a model or something.
Mm.
But now, like integrations are coming in and integrating AI agents into RPA. So where for like exceptions, like instead of having to, maybe sometimes you build a bot and it encounters an exception that it has not encountered before,
Yeah.
right? That means it's going to have to go back to the manual user and say, I've encountered this social error and it's never happened before. But
Yeah.
now we're now integrating AI to solve that problem, and AI understands that okay, this is what this error means, and this is what the bot is supposed to do. So it
I
helps you to take more
okay.
actions.
I think I have more context now.
Yeah.
So to my next question. The question is, how do what programming languages do you need to like learn to be an RP engineer? Like right now, I am doing backend, but I want to be an RP engineer. What do I need to learn?
So it's so if okay, let me put this into perspective. If you are someone already in IT,
Okay.
okay, three perspective actually. If you are someone already in IT, or you are someone already in development, or you are someone that is not even in any of these things. So
Okay.
these are different categories. So
Yeah.
if you are someone already in IT, you already understand Excel, servers, environments,
Yeah.
all those things. So all you just need to do is to brush up your knowledge on maybe how to analyze tasks in terms of algorithms. Like when you want to, even as a backend developer,
Yeah.
you want to write a program, right? You just what's it called? You first write the algorithm of how you want the code to go. So that's what RPA is, just that algorithm, right? So now it's not for you to learn how to apply these tools. So it's just learning how to use, let's say for UI UX design, how to use Figma or how to use Adobe.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Yeah.
So that's just what RPA is all about. So it's just if you're a developer, you already know how to create solutions.
Yes.
You already know all the flows. So it's just that, and the good thing about RPA is you can combine with any programming language: JavaScript, Python, C Sharp, VB.NET, any programming language you can combine it. You can run script. In fact, there are some processes I built that all I'm doing is just to in the environment is just to do start and end. In between, they are all codes. Do you get?
Yeah.
So there are situations like that. So basically, you just learn how the tools work. That's all.
Okay. So you need to write an algorithm. You already know Python or you already know JavaScript. Just
Exactly.
have like a start and end, and then
Exactly.
just tell you the process,
Yeah.
what you
Of
should
what
do.
you should do exactly.
That's really nice. So to my next question, for somebody that I know that this process is for people that have done IT before, right? People that they are not in tech right now. Where did they start from?
Okay. So in RPA, so let's remove the engineering part of it.
Yeah.
RPA is divided into, so for a proper RPA project to go live, there are different life cycles,
Okay.
right? From process gathering, that's requirement gathering, to PDD documentation, that's process design documents documentation, just like your normal
Yeah.
documentation. Then you solution into the solution architect. Then before it goes to development, then testing, then what's it called? Deployments and release, like that, just the same process. So there are different fields in RPA generally. There's business analyst, there's solution architect,
Okay.
there's the tester, and there's the support. That's the deployment
Okay.
and release team.
So it's like a whole like team on its own.
Exactly, it's a whole team on its own. So you can be an RPA business analyst. So what you do is to understand um, the manual process, document it, and give it to the solution architect. So like solution architects, the RPA solution architect looks at it, okay, this is the best approach to do this. Instead of using, maybe you have data entries are a lot, data connectors are a lot, you are using DBs, or maybe you have a portal that a business goes to download the report from, and there's a DB that stores that portal that is an in-house within the environment. The solution architect will tell you, okay, instead of us going to the portal to for the bot to be clicking and downloading the report, you can just go to the DB with a script and spool and all of that. So then the developer now is just the one that takes what the solution architect has given him and takes what the business analyst has given in the documentation and just build the process. Then it moves to deployment, then the support people monitors the robots, ensures that there are no errors and all of that. But it can be far more bigger than that, because as a developer, you might need to be able to do the work of a business analyst, a solution architect, and a support person. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that is implementing. So it might get what's it called? It might get
Tough.
tiring, it might
Yeah.
get tough, right? So because sometimes the way you assimilate something is different from the way the business analyst to assimilate. So they might have documented it perfectly, but you're not still understanding. Because for you to build an RPA process, you have to first understand the manual process. Do you get? So I
Yeah,
have to be able to do it manually for me to be able to build it. That's where the challenge comes from.
like calculating balance now or
Like
reconciliation.
you have to know how to do the reconciliation manually. Like you have to know how to do it manually. Like, okay, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do. Then I can now build a code to replicate that.
Fair enough. So, as an RPA engineer in Nigeria, what are the common challenges that you face?
The common challenges that we face as RPA developers is what's it called? uh, Business realization of benefit or impact. So RPA takes time to show impact, but ideally, impact of RPA is supposed to come first from efficiency then to cost. But Nigerian companies mostly goes from behind. They always want cost first, then efficiency. So it's always difficult for us. They are seeing us that okay, we're not impacting the business, and the business is spending $300,000 for licenses per year, and you're
That's a
not.
lot of
I'm
money.
not. It's not reducing. It's not. But so they don't look at it from the point of okay, how efficient is this process making? So a reconciliation that normally a user or an individual will have done for like 6 hours, and the bot is doing it in 10 minutes. Most Nigerian companies they don't look at that 10 minutes. They are looking at can I sack this person and the person should go and I'm saving the salary.
Yeah,
Do you get? But at the end of the day, you still need that person to audit what the bot has done, right? So it has to be like a maker and checker.
yeah,
The bot does something, the person is checking, okay, is this thing actually correct? Because at the end of the day, the bot does rubbish. They still come, as the management will still come and say, ah, this bot is not giving us what we want. So is that benefit realization that is always the challenge, right? How do we preach? So from my experience, I think the best way is automation has to come from the top in an organization, right?
yeah.
The management has to be the driver of automation. So if the management is just leaving it to the automation team to go and drive the automation, it would to be difficult, right? So I've worked in an organization that it had to become part of every unit KPI. You must have an automation in your team, at least two in a year. That was what drove the automation.
That sounds fair because people would stop doing the same
Exactly.
like boring tasks
Burning
every
tax every
day.
time. Imagine I have to send an email or an HR person, somebody is resigning, I have to send letter to the person and say, this is your bank, this is your balance with us, and all of that. It's very repetitive. So boss can just easily do that for you, and you can incorporate a lot of applications, as many as possible, legacy applications, even new applications, and all of that.
That's fair. It's really this session is insightful for me because I don't know what RPA is.
Yeah, a
I
lot of
mean, like you're
people.
the first person I
A
know
lot of
that does
people,
like RPA
yeah, yeah.
engineering.
So for RPA general in Nigeria, we've been trying our best to push in the community. Like for instance, we organize community sessions to train students. We are still focusing on computer science students for now.
Yeah.
So we have my colleagues too that we do that together voluntarily. So just teach just to show that there's an opportunity in this in this field because
Yeah.
like you said, a lot of people are not aware about it. Yeah.
Is your community open to new people?
Of course, yeah, it's always open. If you
Yeah.
go on LinkedIn, you can search RPA Nigeria
Yeah. I'll
community.
get the link and then I'll attach it to the discussion.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So to my next question. I know that people are scared that AI will take their job, AI will take their job. Automation. I mean RPA is automation. So
Yeah.
what's your opinion about this? Do you think that not even AI now automation, do you think automation will take our jobs?
So
AI automation, same thing, right?
yeah, yeah. So automation definitely it will take jobs, but it will take some jobs,
Okay.
but not all jobs. But it will create more jobs. Let's take for instance the last 10 years ago. I don't think anybody was listening, was trying to become an RPA developer
Yeah.
or an RPA solution architect or an RPA business analyst. So I don't think anybody was trying to do that. So look at the way it has grown now. People are now looking into becoming an RPA developer, an RPA, or let's say even AI. AI analysts, all those things, right? So it's creating more jobs and also taking some jobs.
So
It's just like when Teams and all these online meeting
Zoom,
platforms
yeah.
came into play, especially during COVID. Before, you could hardly schedule a meeting online. Most people will not even join. They prefer to be there physically, even for interviews and all of that. But COVID came and boom, all of this came into play. So just imagine people that are in charge of setting up meetings or
Yeah,
that
their job, yeah.
or
There are actually
document
people like that,
meetings and all of that
administrative roles.
administrative roles.
Yeah.
Like
Even
to a large extent, that job has
yeah.
phased out.
Actually just remember now that we are now have AI that documents meetings.
Exactly, that's what I'm
So
saying.
there were
Like
people that their job was to take
take
minutes.
minutes, right? So
Yeah.
that is phasing out already. So that's the same way it's going to happen, and everybody just has to evolve and
Upskill
upskill
basically. So if you're a
themselves.
business developer, try to be an RPA business developer so you
Exactly.
can still like
Yeah.
do your job. So that's really nice. For people that I think I already asked this question. So my next question is, as a beginner, where do I start?
Uh,
I want to be an RPA developer.
yeah. So each of the so first of all, you have to first within yourself learn how to code, not code entirely, but learn how to break down a problem, like in terms of algorithm.
Okay.
Like you have to learn how to, okay, this is the problem in front of me. How do I break this down step by step? To say,
Okay.
okay, this is what I need to do. I need to loop in this place. I need to do a if statement. I need to do a why statement. All those things you have to understand it first. So when you understand it, then different tools, like all the tools I mentioned
Yeah.
for RPA, the UI parts, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere, Power Automate, they all have academies online which are free, right? So you can just go to academy.uipad.com, then go to RPA the beginner course,
Just that.
start
I'll ask you
your
for all
journey.
these links just so
Yeah, no problem.
I can
So ask, just start your journey as a UI part. Then if you are looking into automation anywhere, so for me, I started as a Blue Prism developer because Blue Prism was the most technical one, was out of all those tools. So, but right now I work with all of them, right? So as you go, you'll be able to transition easily because just like programming language, the solution is the same thing, just the
yeah,
syntax that is different.
syntax. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just the same way it is.
Another question, but it's fine if you don't want to answer this one. It has to do with salaries. Like,
Oh,
how competitive is the RPA field? Like, you know, when people hear tech, they know that, oh, for sure, if you are like a software engineer, you earn it. People, even if you're not earning a lot, people will say, the salaries for like software engineering is high. How competitive is the role RPA? How high? Like, what
the
salary
pay.
band should you expect locally and even globally?
Yeah, so I think it's still in the niche of software
Tech
engineer.
abi
Yeah, so because they still see it as
tech.
software engineering.
Yeah.
So, well, as in Nigeria, right, the adaptation is still very low. It's just majorly banks and some few oil companies that are using it. But abroad, you have hospitals, you have real estate, you have a lot of industries are actually looking into RPA just to reduce their cost and increase their efficiency. So, well, I might not have a exact
Yeah.
figure for the amount, but I think for an entry level RPA developer, you should still be able to earn at a very good salary. Let me just put it like that
Yeah.
because it
Because
can vary,
yeah, it can vary
right?
depending on
So
the company. But
yeah,
I think
so
I already got what I needed since they're already looking at it in the same angle as software
software engineer,
engineering.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Now to my not my final, but might be the final. What advice would you give to somebody that's this is just an advice now, but done with all the how do you get in?
Okay.
Do you have any advice for people that are watching this video and are thinking, oh, let me try RPA? What advice would you give them?
So it's just like every other thing. If you want to try it, you just have to start now. You can't
Okay.
wait till never, right? So if you want to go into RPA, go into RPA. I see a future in RPA and AI generally. Of course, the world is driving to AI. So, and in terms of business processes, right, AI cannot solely work alone. It still need
Yeah,
RPA. It still
RPA.
needs robots to do some activities for it.
Yeah.
Like, so I would say if you want to go into RPA, don't waste time. Head on to any of the RPA platforms and just start now.
Thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you for having me.
I have another question.
Okay.
The last, this will be my last question, but it's on where you see RPA in like the next, like, you see RPA becoming like, you mentioned something around agent AI and all
Agentic
of
AI.
this.
Yeah.
What's like the outlook for RPA engineering? Do you think that in future you have to maybe drop this blue prism and all these things and learn something new, or what's like the future for automation?
Yeah, so the way it's going, most of these tools are already driving into that, right? We're already having inside UI parts, I can do RPA, I can do agentic AI, I can do LLMs, I
Okay.
can do document understanding, I can
Okay.
do OCR
Okay.
inside one tool. So the companies that are the developers of these tools, they are also growing as the industry is growing, right?
Okay.
So because if I'm building an agent, an AI agent, I still need RPA to
Yeah.
do some things for me, right? So
To
it will
automate.
not totally phase out, but what I say is you have to like grow into building AI, more AI agents than more RPA. But
Oh, that's all I have for today. Is there anything else that I did not ask that you probably want to talk about?
uh, no, no, I think we've covered a lot, and in the short time has been detailed enough. I
Yeah.
hope.
Please, if you are still here, like this video, share to your friends, people that you know might be interested in RPA. Subscribe to my channel also. This will encourage me to keep producing this type of quality videos so that you guys can learn. Thank you very much for watching. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.